Welcome, 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 gang. Welcome, your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen, with Dave Bacon, Tiffany, and Daniel Rubin. And it is Real Quick Thursday, gang. We talk about Real Quick all the time on Thursdays. The great connection he makes for the reels to the rods is absolutely extraordinary. We talked about it on the history of sport fishing on Tuesday. Daniel, that was a great show, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I was talking to Michael about it today.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we were chatting about a little stuff. We're going to get, he's going to help me get some gear on the Tuna Club website. So I was chatting with him this morning.
All right. Well, we're going to let Dave Bacon go first because he just had a little surgery on his eyes. So he might take a nap here in a little bit. So you go first, Dave.
Well, thank you. One eye may take a nap anyway. The rest of me may be okay. We'll see how that goes. Just old guy surgery, cataracts, glaucoma, stuff like that. Just takes a while for the eyesight to come back. All is good. So what I want to talk about is one of my favorite topics, really, and that is refurbishing rods. Now, I can't tell you how many times on the show or on the boat that something had happened to a rod. Tiffany would grab it and we'd run back to the house, and she, by the next morning, it was ready to go. Maybe still drying a little bit. We put it up on the top rack for the air to help dry it as we go across the water. But we'd get out there and we'd have a working rod. Now that's rod repair, and there's a lot of that goes on. And frequently, a guide gets loose, a guide breaks, a ring inside, tips need replacing more frequently than they actually do get replaced, and they can be pretty hard on line if they're not replaced when they should be. Those are repairs, and that just takes a really great rod and just keeps it nice. You could almost consider that rod maintenance. But what I'm talking about, most of us in our garage or storage shed or barn or whatever you got, we've got this boneyard of old rods that we bought, traded for, won, whatever, and they were great favorite old rods. In some cases, they may be 50 years old, in some cases 5 years old. But the rods that we knew and loved and caught a bunch of fish with, and wouldn't it be nice to use those rods again? And one of the reasons it'd be nice to use those rods again is because they were old favorite rods for a reason. They were great at whatever they were specifically built to do. Maybe for trolling, maybe for deep drops, maybe for casting swim baits or live baits or whatever they were made for. We just sort of loved them, and they were great rods. And refurbishing those old rods, pulling them out of the boneyard and looking at them real closely with a perspective on what can be done to make this rod as good as ever was, maybe even better. Captain Tiffany can share some secrets on what makes them even better than they ever were. And much of that has to do with, well, what are you exactly going to use them for? Because you can build a rod to what you use it for. So when you go in your boneyard in the garage and you pull out these favorite old sticks that are now kind of worn out in the sense that maybe the coating is gone, guides are missing or loose, needs a new grips, reel seat, D, all of above, whatever the case may be, it's really worth doing that. Nothing against buying a brand new blank, and there's some great ones out there to choose from. We've got, Batson and Seeker and all kinds of CalStar, all kinds of really great rod blanks out there. But many times what you've got in the garage are those same things. Maybe you got an old Super Seeker out there, an old Rain Shadow blank out there that you just kind of used it up. Just rebuild it. In Captain Tiffany's classes, she goes through everything that a person needs to know to refurbish an old rod or build a new one. Refurbishing adds a little bit in the sense that you need to take everything off of that rod and prepare the rod itself and then start building it like it was a new blank. But she covers all of that in her online interactive rod building classes, and she has the next one coming up just next month. So take a look on vaguerods.net and get in on that because it's a great price and it comes with a free blank. But besides that, I encourage you to go out to your garage, your storage shed, barn, whatever you got. Go through your old boneyard of rods and see which ones you really want to just bring back up to snuff. You know, maybe you want to put a ReelQuick reel seat on one that would be different than what you used to have. There's ways to make them better now, but they're really worth doing because those old blanks in many cases will still serve you just as well as they ever did, if not better by the time you're done. And you'll have the added satisfaction and pride of having done it yourself and being able to fish out there with your own tool that you built. And people will see that, you'll tell them what you did, and it'll help make a name for yourself and build your rod building business. That's kind of one of my favorite topics. And Captain Tiffany, I'll bet you've got more than just a little bit to add to that.
Oh, there's with refurbishing rods, I love making the old ugly into looking new. And it's actually really not a difficult thing to do. When you see one done, a lot of people will look at it and be like, wow, what did you do? How did you do this? How long did it take you to do it? All sorts of different questions come into place. But when you see it, and you really learn how to do it, like I teach this in all of my classes, it's really a very simple procedure to do. Now, depending on how bad it is, will dictate what you have to do. Some cases, it's just simple as easy as slapping on another coat of epoxy. But a lot of times in the rods that are brought to me, there's a little process that you have to do, and that's taking the junk off your blank. It's a necessity. And right now, to answer some people's question on how long it takes, right now I'm slowly climbing back into the driver's seat. I'm finishing up a few rods for ReelQuick. I got all dryers going on. We're going to be running by morning, so within a day or two, I'll be finished with Daniel's ReelQuick stuff. But anyhow, if you take a dilapidated rod, one that has a lot of grime and junk all over the place, like I said, you got to take your junk off your blank. And you want to be careful when you're taking that junk off with your blade. I learned this from way back when I used to have to hold a filleting fit when I was filleting fish. It's all in how you hold the blade, the angle of your blade. And you don't want to cut into when you're filleting fish, for instance, you don't want to cut into the bone. You want to basically scrape the meat off the bone. So when you're done filleting, it's all bone on the carcass and there's no meat. All the meat is in that fillet chunk that you did. It's the same concept here. You don't want to gouge your blank. You're just taking the junk off your blank. So it's all about the angle of your blade. I find it easier to use blades these days, like little razor blades. When I first started doing it, I used to use a blade, like a Forstner, just to get people cracking up or running scared when they'd see me pull out this big old fillet blade and then start whacking on a blank or somebody's rod that was junk. But it's because I know how to hold the blade. I know the angles of the blade. I've been filleting fish for how many years?
Oh boy, you don't want me to say how many years, but
no, I don't want anybody to know how old I am.
Say hundreds of thousands of fish.
So it's all about holding how you hold the blade. But I used to love watching people's eyes get all big, their mouths draw open when I pull out my fillet blade and start scraping on the blank and getting all the crud off there. Either they'd run out screaming or they would start cracking up, or they'd sit down and want to learn how to do this. One of the three. But I'm barely scraping the blank. It's just scraping that junk, the corroded stuff, all that yucky stuff that goes on there. Dave, can you play the video and I can just show you what I mean, and you'll be able to see how I'm holding my little teeny tiny blade. It's not my knife blade. It's a
absolutely.
Little
The thing that I was going to say though, Tiffany, is the thing about our fillet knives is normally they're more sharper. They are sharper than the razor blade, and they're easier to hold. My God. I mean, but hey, Daniel, who is that little person we got in there with you?
And they're always sharper than Dave's. Check
Yeah,
it out.
they all are sharper than mine.
Look what
Who
we got
is that
here.
little person?
Hey!
There you are.
Hey!
Say hi to Dave, Tiffany, and Dave.
You're getting so big.
How are you?
So tell them, Eric, who are you? And who is the one you're holding?
I'm Eric Prater from Ventura. I'm Prater Made Rods. And then
Nice.
let's see how the easiest way to put this. A lifelong friend with Tiff. And her dad. I've been going to their gun store and hook, line, and seeker for feels like decades. Can you see the wrinkles?
Yeah.
Roof. And then I started building rods and watched Tiff get better and better. And then I've just picked it up and slowly had to take backseat twice with my 2 kids. But I'm back in action and trying to do shows and get better.
You're a student of Tiff's.
Student, and I've taught a class.
Yes,
And-
I'm having come in and teaching some classes because he does awesome work. He's learned a lot, and he's up there in their game. And he does his own grips for carbon fiber grips now.
Oh yeah, for real.
Yeah, we
rods.
don't have the carbon fiber, but I will show you. Eric came over to drop a rod off. The first rod he's made for ReelQuick is a trial thing. So we're collecting rod builders for us to be able to build rods when we need them. And here's the grip that he did, the cord grip on this. ReelQuick,
Good.
vanilla reel seat, camo under wrap under the guides with a little bit of a pinstripe, silver pinstripe. And then the ReelQuick's going to be upside down. CalStar blank.
CalStar 970J. 20 to 40 pound rating just for the Channel Islands right here. Nothing too big or fancy.
But little rail rod action. So we're super happy he brought that over. We're going to take this to Steve, my partner in ReelQuick, for his approval. And then, Eric's going to be added to our list of rod builders for ReelQuick. Super awesome.
Yes, I'm so proud of you, Eric. I am so proud of you.
Thanks, Tiff.
You do incredible work.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an insane rod. I'm very impressed. Dave Bacon, isn't it cool to see people that grew up with you now? They're adults and they got children, and you're like, wow, we are old.
Well, you didn't have to say the last part of that, Dave.
Hey, but it's funny
Jesus.
though. Like all of you guys are the next generation up, and like me and in my generation idolize you guys, and then you guys are like mentors to my generation, and that's why I love teaching at Batson.
You know, I had mentors growing up myself. You know, I was a preteen pinhead on the party boats, and you know, came up from there. So many of us were, and you know, some of those people that mentored me even well into my career. And I'll mention like Captain Mike Gardner and a few others, you know, that were just really helpful to me. And so now it feels right to pay that forward and do the same thing, you know, and there's a lot of joy in seeing younger people become really, really strong members of the industry and good professionals.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Pass on that torch.
Good job, my friend. So let's look at this video that Tiffany's got for us here. Check this out, and then we'll go back to talking about it.
If you look at just dingy and slimy, messed up this blanket is, this great. Um, it's very disgusting. All the way to the tip. Just very disgusting. Couple, and see how I'm holding the blade? I'm just barely scraping it sideways. I'm not digging into the blank, but getting all this gunk off there, you know, scrape, it'll come off. A lot of it can be just old coating from the manufacturing that just kind of starts dilapidating and getting disgusting. That part will easily come off just by going sideways, not at not at no 90-degree angle, just sideways. So you're just barely nicking the top of the coating and not going into the blank at all. And that's getting all that stuff off and then doing a final coat. You got that look. It'll look brand spanking new, the blank when you do it. And then you got to go from there. I guess we're replaying it. After you get all that stuff off, then you just redo the guides. Scraping it will be done after you take off all your old guides and stuff. But you can bring that blank back to looking brand new.
You weren't using any heat on there? No heat.
No heat, just it's all on the angle. You don't want to go like diagonal because you're going to go right into the blank. You're scraping it all off. And you won't, if you do it, you know, you can do it quick. Some people, when they first start, like to do it a little bit slow because they're, you know, not used to the angle. But I pretty much use the same angle after I've made the first diagonal cut into like a fish. And then I scrape this way, and then I'm scraping it along the bone of the fish. Same thing. I'm scraping it along, and you act like that blank is the bone of the fish. You don't go through it. You're just scraping on the top of it. Pretty simple to do.
Can I respond to Matt's question about what's the weirdest rod?
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
I'm remember, Tiffany may remember others, but I'm remembering more than one time when people came in with an old rod and wanted it refurbished. And their instruction was, here's what I use it for, because she would ask them, they would tell her, here's what I use it for, which tells her a lot about how to put it together to do the job. And then they would say, when I go on a party boat and put my rod in the rack, I want to be able to see right where it is instantaneously. And what that means is build the wackiest looking rod that just jumps out, you know, visually at you, and it quicker than everything else. And so that when everyone is walking off the boat at the end of the day, if that rod is in the wrong hand, you will see that really quickly. And that has led Tiffany into some artistic creations that are sometimes a little bit mind-boggling, but always a lot of fun.
So what do you think, Tiff? What's been the weirdest rod you've ever made?
That one, I want to say a guy wanted me to actually, let me back up a little bit here. He's from the reservation. He was Chumash Indian. And so he wanted me to have this rod, make it into a spiral wrap rod. So I did that, you know, no problem with that. But underneath where he would have his reel seat on the rear end, the rear grip, instead of just being a grip, he wanted these leather, what do you call it? What would you call those? Leather strips. Tassels coming down from that. And then with the how it wraps in would be the same as the colors, like the turquoise blue and the blacks and, you know, all the Indian colors, but in a jig-jagged type design on it, and have that come on with the beads. That was the weirdest one. It was cool looking, but at first when he asked me, I was like, okay, I will do that. But it actually came out looking pretty cool. I don't have a picture of it, unfortunately, though. But that would be the weirdest one that I've ever done.
Yeah, that would have been a cool picture.
You know, actually, not just because it was, you know, a Native American or tribal concept, right? But I'm thinking that sounds like a really beautiful rod as it would come out. Those tassels hanging down from the rear grip might get a little slimy and messy and end up stuck in places, true. But I'm just thinking, guy, what a gorgeous rod.
And here's the funny thing on it, though, is when you have like the bells, I call them bells, and the beads, you know, the jing, anytime you're reeling in their fish or they get bit and they're, you know, hook up and whatnot, you hear this jing, 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 jing. And then when they're reeling, it's like jing, 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 jing. So, I mean, it was funny, but at the same time, it was like really cool because that's kind of like the culture. So it gives it like the, you know, the Indian drum chime sound every time he uses it. So it was actually ended up being cool, but still at the same time, yeah, it was one of the weirdest ones I've done.
That's unusual.
That is very strange. Very, very strange.
I have to say hi. A couple of people that are in my class. I've got Tuesday in the house, and I've got Kevin, who's under River Recon fly fishing. Now, here's a veteran. This guy is incredible. And I don't know how much I have to twist his arm to be able to make him come onto the show on our next show and show all the stuff that he can do in the fly fishing world. This guy is incredible. And I feel like I have to twist his arm in public now to get him to agree to come on. So everybody that's watching, hound Kevin to have him come aboard with us. I want you guys to see what he's learned.
Hey, Kevin, are you watching? Kevin, come on the show with us, please.
Yeah, he's watching. Tim Ogilvy wants to know what determines how many guides are on a rod. Is there a standard or is it personal or what?
Yes and no.
There you go, Tim.
There is a standard procedure. Like if it's a conventional rod, it would be, let's say it's 7 foot. Conventional rod, it's going to be 7 foot plus 1. So you'd have 8 guides. If it's an 8 foot, you'd have 9 guides. If it's 10 foot, you'd have 10 guides. However, if you flip it over and you're doing it spinning, then it's the same amount of guides as the amount of footage that your rod is. Then at the other side of things, it'd be more like if you wanted to do blueprints. Like a lot of manufacturers have what they call blueprints for their blanks based on, you know, different testing trials that they've done on it to get the most out of how the rod functions. So they have blueprints, and some of those can be exorbitant amount of guides or less guides than you think should be based on the performance of that rod. Basically, if you go by the blueprint of a company or manufacturer, then you're going to optimize and maximize the amount that the rod performs. So to answer his question, yes and no.
Yes and no, and a little bit of how much or how fast or slow the rod is, and also if it's full parabolic or 70-30 or whatever, has a little bit to do with it too, right?
Yep. So basically, to answer his question, yes and no.
You know, I'll add to that too. I'm always big on what are you going to do with this rod, because that dictates how you build it. And if you're building a rod that you're going to do a lot of casting with, you kind of psychologically want fewer guides, because every guide is a possibility for slowing that cast down, because the line has to run through the guide and rub against the guide. On the other hand, when we've made a good cast and now you've hooked up with a nice fish, now you want more guides, because you want the bend in the rod to be even and distribute the weight of the fish and let the rod's backbone really do its job. So what I've always wanted, of course, are appearing and disappearing guides. I want 2 or 3 to disappear when I'm casting and then reappear when I'm fighting the fish. We can do that. We got that, right?
Yeah. We'll try.
Yay, we got Kevin saying that he'll come on.
Okay, good.
Nice.
So we got him next round.
Hey, let me show you this video real quick that Daniel and I made out at the PCS show. Let me just show this to you real quick while we're on the subject of ReelQuick here. Show you this video and then we'll get back into this. Hold on a second.
All right, gang, your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen. We're down here at the Pacific Coast Sportfishing Show, and I'm with Daniel Rubin, the creator of the ReelQuick Reel Seat System. This is an amazing, amazing product.
You guys check this out. ReelQuick Fishing is a dovetail connection. It is in the unlocked position for simplicity here. Comes right off the rod with a dovetail connection. No more screws, no more clamps on the back. Goes on the rod just like that, and we can lock this in place. Turn of a pin. This is strong. This is not coming off of this rod. ReelQuickFishing.com. Dave, you want to add anything to this?
The really cool part about this is the simplicity of it. I fish hard all the time. I hold my rod the proper way. I know a lot of you don't. A lot of you have your hand back here. You always want to have your hand in front of the reel. That's the way that the whole design was made to do, is do it the right way. Normally, when you grab it the right way, you're dealing with the ferrule screws right here. And when you're grabbing it and undoing it, the screws keep coming undone. There's none of that happening anymore. It's a very easy system to use the right way. I was blown away when I saw this. I thought it would add a lot of weight to the rod. Actually, it takes away a lot of the weight.
That is just an incredible video. I love showing that, Daniel. We did a great job on that, didn't we?
Yes, Dave. Thank you very much for the first take on that. I just want to do your job for 1 second halfway through the show. Please, you guys, if you're enjoying this, please share the show, like, love, and smile, please.
Absolutely. And then I'll throw the QR code up so you can check out Daniel Rubin's website. It's right over his face right there. You can go and you can check it out. His phone number is also available on there, and you can call him. He'll answer any questions, and you got to give this a try, gang. I tell you what, it revolutionizes how the rod holds the reel. Michael Folks and I talked about it on the show on Tuesday, how important it is to have a good connection to that rod. And like Steve, your partner, said, Daniel, I can't even imagine no one came up with this idea 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. And now this just makes all the sense in the world. It's a huge learning curve for a lot of us. But once you fish with it, guys, it makes all the sense in the world.
Thank you, Dave.
And Dave Bacon, I don't know if you've had an opportunity to try one of these rods with the ReelQuick system on it, but it is a game changer for sure. Oh, I got you muted. What are you doing muting him? There you go. Talk, Dave.
Daniel, I am smiling. It's under the mustache.
Yeah. I don't know what I did. All right. Well, we're here. We're ready to go. Anybody got any questions for Tip? Oh,
There is one.
here's one. Tiffany, do you have rod builders use other chemicals other than epoxy to glue down the threading on the guides?
Are you talking about to glue down for when you're starting? Some people do, but if you're talking about finishing it, the standards for rod finish is epoxy. But it's, there's several different types of epoxy. They've got, the old school flex coat, which is no longer flex coat. It's owned by Mudhole now. You've got the Gen 4, you've got the UV40, you've got the Generation 5, you have the next level, and then you have Pro Coat. All that stuff you can get on our website, up to 40% off at vaguerods.net. But as far as starting it, some people, I don't recommend it, but some people will put a little bit of dab of the tip top adhesive for when people are having trouble when they first are starting to wrap rods and they can't grasp their finger down to hold it in place while you're wrapping it. Some people will use tip top adhesive for the first thread round, which you can pick off with your fingernail. Other people I've heard and seen put a little bit of super glue. I really do not recommend that at all whatsoever, but I have seen that done. You can see it, the difference of, on the thread. So I do not recommend that at all, but it has been done. I hope that answered his question.
I see you using a lot of blue tape too.
Oh yeah, blue tape. Start getting stock in blue tape.
It gets stuck all over your shoes and everything else, and then pretty soon it's on the bottom of my shoes because we're walking on the same floor. And yeah.
The joke in the household, or I should say my neighborhood, is anytime they see blue tape somewhere, they know I've been there.
Yep. It's your calling card.
Everybody says, "Oh, you were at the grocery store. How do you know I was at the grocery store?" There was blue tape with thread that they found on the ground. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's the rod I'm working on."
Maybe instead of regular business cards, you ought to get a stamp with your information on it and just pull out a little stretch of blue tape and stamp it on there and hand it to people.
That's a great idea. Add some thread to it.
That's some thread to it. Yeah. Just put some thread on the sticky side. Yeah. Here's your working materials, folks. Get started.
I hope that answered his question. Sometimes when people ask a question, it's really hard to know what they're actually asking when it comes to a text form. So if I didn't answer that question, let me know and I'll try again another way.
Hey, when are the Your Saltwater Guide rods?
Yeah, I like John's question there.
Do what now?
When are the Your Saltwater Guide rods coming out?
They'll be coming out right after I'm done with Daniel's. We're supposed to have them completed and ready for PCS show.
Nice. There you go, John. That answers that.
That'll be the Tribune, would be the PCS show, and then we'll carry it over to the Anaheim show.
Fun show too. The one in Anaheim, the International California Boat Show.
Oh yeah, that one's just coming up around the corner right after the PCS. That one I'm really excited to. I mean, it's going to be a new show, brand new show. You never know how first time shows are going to be. But the whole idea and the concept behind this show, I'm really excited to be a part of. We've got there's a ton of stuff going on. And the one thing that really has intrigued my interest in it that I've never seen before is Squeaky the squirrel. A squirrel that's going to be skiing live, from what I understand. Has anyone seen a squirrel, a real squirrel, skiing behind a little boat?
No, but Marley's pissed. Literally, he's right here on the desk, and he's like, "What are you talking about? A squirrel? God damn! What about a monkey?"
That would be cool. That would actually be pretty cool. But
Yeah.
with this show, besides the squirrel, though, we've got this huge stage area where we're going to be having different seminars going on different types of fishing. They've given me this huge area to where we also have seminars and demos going on with rod building. Then we've got a section where people can come and look at all the different types of different rod building equipment, rod building, different blanks they can buy, different, all sorts of stuff. And then a lot of my students, like Eric's going to be there, putting on a seminar. Then I have other people. I think River Recon's going to come out. We talked earlier today, and he might be coming out to do it. Then we've got all my students that have, learned a lot and have done a lot and doing good with their rod wrapping. Each of them come out and have a different section. They put on a small little seminar, but they're also selling all the rods that they've built, making money off of it and showcasing their job and getting their name out. And the ones that already have the business, you got to do these shows to keep your name going. Because if you don't keep your name going, you're going to end up back to where you were when you started. So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to, is seeing my students shine, seeing them and all their work that they've been doing with their rods and selling them, watching somebody come up, asking them questions, hand them over money and walk off with their rod. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. The growth with their businesses.
True. And then you've got the older fellers above you and below you here on this screen going to be there. Captain Dave Hansen and I are both going to be there jabbering at folks about something. I know I'm going to be talking about boating safety and compliance, something that, boy, I wish every boater out there would lend a real close ear to this one, so we can have better, safer boating with fewer accidents and whatnot. But another thing that I'm really impressed with about the show is the folks putting it together. I mean, what good managers they're showing themselves to be. And, they've got a good concept on marketing and whatnot. You can always do more marketing, right? But they just have a really good, healthy attitude about the industry and what they want to accomplish with the show. And they leave me with the feeling of confidence in them that they're going to build a very good, long-term, successful, growing show right here. Yeah, right here where we can all attend and learn from it. And its location, I mean, Anaheim, it's within a reasonable drive of how many millions of people? A lot. So potentially this can become a very big and important show for Southern and Central California. I'm feeling good about this show.
Yeah, I got a little bulletin from the people over there just to read real quick. The California International Boat and Outdoor Adventure Show is coming to the Anaheim Convention Center from April 9th to the 12th. And this thing is going to be huge. It's packed with boats, gear, outdoor rigs, travel ideas, and everything that makes California lifestyle what it is. If you've been thinking about upgrading your boat, your tow, your overland rig, learning something new, or checking out what's happening in our world, this is the show you need to be at. I will actually be there. Dave Bacon will be there. Tiffany will be there. Daniel will be there. And we will all be there giving seminars, teaching people what's going on the water. Dave will be teaching boater safety. I'll be teaching you how to not be safe on the water. I'm breaking down the exact tips and techniques that help you fish and find fish faster. You know me. I don't hold anything back. Dave Bacon, he doesn't hold anything back. If you want to come and see some good seminars, besides the fact that we're both going to be at the PCS show, then we get to go and talk to even more of you at the Anaheim Convention Center at the California International Boat Show. This is going to be great. if you follow my weekly game plans or watch my videos, you already know I like to keep it real and give the info that actually works. Come spend some time with us. We'll answer all your questions and get you out on the water. I'm fired up on the show. It's one of the premier events in California, and it's going to bring people together, products, ideas, and make our boating and outdoor community what it is. So make sure that you go to the CaliforniaBoatShow.com,
InternationalBoatShow.com.
Well, she's saying go to CaliforniaBoatShow.com. I don't know. I'm just telling you what she's telling me to say. And sign up for the newsletter, and you could be the first on your block to get tickets when they drop them.
Also, if you go there, go onto the website and you go over to where it says hotels, motels, a lodging, or whatever the icon is, they also are giving room at the discounted rate. Like, I think it's like $150 or $175 or something per night versus their normal $400 and $500 a night. But if you go onto that website, all spectators can do this. You don't have to be part of the show. If you're coming out from Zimbabwe to come see the show, get on the website, and they've got discounted rates. And the hotel that they have is right across the street from the convention center. So you just go outside, walk across the street, boom, you're there at the convention center.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. And Tim Ogilvy, you better show up with my $100. I'm sweating it, man. Kelly and I haven't eaten for 3 months because of that $100.
They've been starving, Tim, because you haven't given them their $100. You're making them starve.
Dave, can you send me that bulletin so I can share it on my social media too, please? Periodically.
Absolutely, Daniel. Awesome. For a little bit of money, I'll do anything.
$100.
Yeah.
He has to collect it from Tim first.
Yeah, I got to get the money from Tim, and then I'll send it to you. But no, I'll send it to you right after we get off here.
Tiffany's invited me to come and speak at this boat show too. I'm super excited about talking about ReelQuick. But what I am going to get into, this is the perfect time for me to start developing the rod and reel storage on yachts and boats. So I'm going to have some 3D printed pieces that will have to be made in metal later, but we'll have those available. I'm going to try and get them mounted to something so I can have a display of storage for the rod and reels. That's going to be awesome. When we break into the yacht building community and we get Anthony Shea to build a yacht around ReelQuick, are you kidding me? That would be ideal. That would be awesome.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. What else is going on, Tiffany?
Well, right now we've
oh, I got it. Tiffany, what's the biggest mess you've ever made?
I'll defer to my father.
I was going to say, I can answer that.
Okay.
You have to understand Tiffany. Cleaning her room when she was a little kid was a serious chore, which her parents had to do because she wouldn't. Okay. And so that was the beginning of a mess. And actually, from my perspective, that mess still just continues until this day. Tiffany can work with anything. She just can't find where she set it down last time. That's all.
Everybody's got some weird quirk. Just push the debris aside, Tiffany. You'll be able to get a little bit more done.
I don't know how to answer that question with the biggest mess I've ever created. You'll see at the show. The mounds of thread well, you can ask Eric. He knows the mounds of thread that all of a sudden you're like, where the hell did that come from?
Eric is the coolest guy in the world to have at your booth because he becomes MacGyver. And
that's his nickname in this industry, MacGyver now.
Stuff just happens. He builds stuff, he fixes stuff. He makes stuff different and better. And he's just a really handy guy to have around.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm just good with my hands. You know what I mean? I did construction until I hurt my back, and then fishing saved me in the darkest moments of my life. I'd set out on the pier, you know, and my friends from Chasing Tail fishing crew in Ventura, they're like, "Hey, you're in the crew." I just sat there and fish, and you know, and put in the work, and started catching all kinds of stuff. White sea bass off the pier in winter when it's raining, nobody else is out there, pissing people off. But
good for you.
And then I just had to get back into it, and got tired of breaking stuff on the pier. And I had my daughter, and so I was like, I got to do something. I got to stay in touch with the ocean and my soul. And picked up rod building, and I've known Tiff for ages. And
We won't say how old we are.
started with a cardboard box, actually a diaper box from Costco.
Pampers.
And I slid a V on each side, and I just started hand wrapping. And I still tend to the ReelQuick camo rod I built for myself. Like, I ended up doing that by hand on a power wrapper. You know what I mean? Just it's just a natural thing for me. And I just like trying new things out of the box, innovative, you know. And then when we were talking earlier, I was like biting my tongue. I was thinking I can use one of your bigger reel seats and fully do carbon fiber over the blank, and then put on a reel seat. And that's what I think I might do.
New techniques.
And Eric, you are one of probably each person on this podcast who can say that fishing kind of saved your life through dark times.
Oh, for surely. It surely did.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've never told my story, but it's about as dark as it gets. And I'll tell you what, fishing absolutely saved Dave Hansen. That's for damn sure. And the thought of that line when it touches the water, Eric, the only thing we can think of at that moment is a bite. There goes everything that you were thinking about, and every time you were thinking of me personally using, it evaporates, it goes away, and all you can think about is a bite. You just want a bite. I talk about it on Michael Folks' show. It's pretty much the thing that saved my life, and there's so many people on this show that talk about how fishing saved their life. And I can't even imagine. And we got to talk about this, and we got to talk about it pretty much, I think, every show, because there are entities out there that want to take fishing away from us. They just do. They, for no reason at all, just to show that they control us, and they want to take fishing away. And they're working so hard right now on this sand bass thing, Dave Bacon. All we did was put a Band-Aid on it. They want them. They want them so bad. It's just disgusting. And
they're back talking about it again.
Oh, it's full speed, buddy. You don't even know. The behind the scenes stuff that's going on right now is so gross. And these fish don't even live here, but we got to talk about it again. And we're coming in to another.
What are they so pissed about? Are the fish coming here illegally?
No, they're pissed because it's controlled, Daniel. If you don't pay attention to what I'm talking about, you would understand that it's not about fish. It is absolutely not about fish. It never has been. It never will be. It's about control, and it's absolutely ludicrous. And then they're going to come down the pipe with the MPAs again. And here we go. We want to close more of the California coastline. It's like Michael Folk said, it's death by a billion cuts, little tiny cuts, but they're going to get it. And they're on a mission to never, ever, ever have you fishing again. Never, ever are you going to have any joy. Here's the number one thing I've learned over my lifetime on this planet. If you show any type of joy in what you're doing, they've got to close it or tax it. They got to tax it first. And if you can still afford it, then they got to close it. It's so stupid. But I'm sorry, I just get pissed when I talk about it. I get a little emotional.
Horrible. You should be pissed. We're all pissed.
One of my favorites to talk about or be upset about is MPAs, marine protected areas, where you can't fish. because here again, it's not about fish. We have the best managed fishery perhaps in the world. And, you know, a combination of states and feds and scientists and fisheries managers. I mean, this is, yeah, we can always make it better, and we should, and we try to. And it all starts with stock assessments. But the thing is, we do have probably the best managed fisheries in the world. And it's managed for that magic word, sustainability, so that it can be well managed, but we still have access to it. So MPAs are not needed for fish, yet fishing is the one thing that you can't do in an MPA. And my feeling is, hey, if we want to protect our inshore waters, there's some important things. There's urban runoff, there's pollution, there's sewage spills, there's all these real stressors of the inshore marine environment. And all of that is considered into fisheries management. But MPAs, they're not interested in worrying about those real stressors of the marine environment. They're just all about making sure that we can't go fishing.
Yeah.
That upsets me a little bit.
There's only two real problems, Dave, and we both talk about it all the time. It's urban runoff and it's the California sea lion. And if you're not going to address those two problems, then I don't really care what you say. There's nobody that's going to change my mind. And how stock assessments, perfect example. Right now, we're trying to count a fish. We have people, we're paying them money to count a fish that we might as well be counting polar bears in California, because the California barred sand bass doesn't live here. It lives in Mexico. And a few of them hang out after they migrate up here. A few of them hang out, and then all of a sudden you think there's a fishery. It's a fake fishery, gang. The fish lives in Mexico, migrates up here. You can't count a migratory fish. I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you're the head of the CCA anywhere on the planet. You can't count a fish that doesn't live here. You can't count a fish that doesn't live here, just like counting polar bears. You can't count polar bears in California. They don't live here. Now, if one straggled down here one day on an iceberg and ended up somewhere in San Francisco, they would all of a sudden say the population of the polar bear is dwindling. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sand bass weren't here in the 50s. They did not exist. My father tells a story about how they showed up in 1953, and they didn't even know what the hell they were. And they were like, what are these things? These are gray calico bass? What the hell's going on with these things? Something's wrong. They weren't here before. They're going to go away again. But hopefully everybody's listening and you're paying attention. It's not about fish. Dave Bacon said it. I say it all the time. It's about control. And if you're promoting counting a fish that doesn't live here, then you're part of the problem. Sorry.
They're all relying on the fish counts.
They're relying on a bunch of crap.
Today. I guess they're going extinct.
It's just like counting polar bears in California.
You're going to give yourself a heart attack.
Well,
Dave's like red right now.
If I don't talk about it, we're not going to talk about it.
I'm watching his veins go like this.
Nah, I think it's definitely very important for you to get pissed off every time you talk about it, because it's
how I'm going to take care of that for me is I'm going to go down and fish on the beach tonight and catch a bunch of fish in a place where you can fish. It's pretty crazy. In Mexico, you can actually fish. It's really cool. And you can keep stuff. And you can keep it any size you want. So who am I to not kill fish? I just have to kill them. There's people starving.
You don't need a fishing license to fish off the beach in Mexico, do you, Dave?
Yeah.
No.
Only floating boats.
But it's very, very cool. We can actually keep fish down here, any kind. There's no such thing as a size limit or whatever, because the Mexican government knows you can't affect the population of fish in the ocean with the fishing pole. Not even Dave Bacon's that good.
On some Tuesdays, I almost rise to that, but the rest of the week's tough.
Yeah. I don't know. I get so fired up over this stupid stuff, but I can't believe. And like Eric, fish saved his life. Fish saved my life. Fish saved Tiffany. Fish saved Daniel. Fish saved Dave Bacon. That's the reason why we're here. That's why we do this silly little show every single day, 5 days a week. It's because of fishing.
Well, I got grounded for life. So
Yeah.
how did I save my life? I got grounded for life.
Yeah, that saved you.
Saved you from not being able to get out of the house for the rest of your life. Grounded you, except you can go fishing with me.
And make rods.
There you go. We have this class that just started a couple of weeks ago. This class is just really pulling on my heartstrings. And the reason why I say that is because 80% are veterans in this class.
Cool.
Then we have about 15% are active duty on deployment. And so I get it's almost like I have half the class there and half the class is missing. I'm looking at the roster and it's like twice as many people in this class, but only a small portion are there because the rest of them are either on deployment or in the military. Your time changes. You could sign on for the class, and then with the drop of a dime, your schedule's changed in the military. You can't be there. So I've got, so in this class, it's funny because I'm recording every single class and then emailing it to all the people that aren't in the class, but they're registered in the class so that they can do it when they're off duty. And I do that with everybody, though. It's not just if you're in the military. If you are taking the class and you can't be there, just let me know and I'll send you it. But with the military, it's completely understandable. So it's funny because, like I said, half the people are there and then all of a sudden they're not there. Or somebody will get a call in the middle of the class and they have to leave. So they still get to finish their class. We do have an upcoming class that's coming up next month that we were talking about earlier, the next semester, which is the 15-week live online rod building course. This is the course that we started umpteen years ago through the community colleges. So it's the community college style class. Early bird special going on right now for $130. You get a free rain shadow blank. Perfect stocking stuffer, not the blank. The blank's hard to fit into the stocking. But if you can get like a gift certificate for somebody that that wants to build or learn how to build, really learn how to build, not this 2-day wham bam thank you ma'am where you learn how to throw components together, but actually learn how to rod build, it'd be a perfect stocking stuffer gift for them. In this class that's coming up, the topics we're going through are things like choosing the correct blank and components for specific fishing styles. And then with every class, it's power and action deflection, learning about the true powers, rod building terminologies. You learn the materials of the blanks and the components. You learn how to read cross rock patterns. You're going to learn 3 different designs and basic marbling, guide repair, refurbishing old rods, like we just showed a little section of it today. Decorative end wraps. You'll learn a variety of different decorative end wraps like saw blades, of just a variety of different things. And then the acid spiral wrap, traditional guide trains and extra guide trains, custom grip designs, and just so much more. You'll learn a lot in these classes. So if you go on to vaguerods.net, sign up for a class or get a gift certificate for somebody. Have them learn, have them start a business. Veterans, it really is therapeutic for them. Wrapping rods, doing stuff. I can't say how many veterans just have such a time of their life in it. It is addicting, though. I will tell you guys this. It is a highly addicting craft. And there's no AA for it. There's no VA for it. There's nothing for it but to keep digging yourself into more and more of an addiction, right, Eric? You're on mute.
Oh, just vitamin C. Get out there and fish it.
Vitamin.
All right, gang. I want to thank you all for being here today and watching our silly show. I want to thank Dave Bacon, Daniel, and Tiffany for always being here for us on Thursdays. Thank you very, very much. And you guys have a great, great weekend. I will be here with you tomorrow for the Wild Alaskan Lodge. We're going to have the owners of the Wild Alaskan Lodge, Melanie, is going to be with us, and her husband, and they're going to be talking, and we're going to be doing a trip up there in, I believe it's June. I'm going to have the exact dates tomorrow for you.
Oh,
and
I hope you don't do it during the 9th through the 12th. I want to go to Alaska, but I got to charter those days.
Yeah, well, I'll do my damnedest to make sure that we don't mess up your dates, Daniel.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for that.
But if it's anything like last year, gang, it's going to be an incredible trip. The Wild Alaskan Lodge is a very, very special place. I was able to go up there last year, second year they've been in business. This is going to be the third year coming up. It's a self-guided lodge. So you get to take the boats out. They have 9 different boats. You put your stuff on the first day when you get there, and you get to use the boat for the whole 5 days you're there. And the way that they work it, you get there in the afternoon, you can go fish for a few hours and then have a nice dinner and then get up in the morning and fish for 5 days, fish a half day on the last day, and then fly out of there. It's pretty spectacular. But we'll be talking all about it tomorrow. Thank you all for being here today. Thanks for being on the show, and I'll see you tomorrow.